Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany. This is the Brittany Reacts Show. It's been a minute, so thank you everyone for being patient. I was in the middle of moving, obviously. We have a new background. We have a lot more space in here, which is great. But how are you guys doing? We have a fun show today. We have a lot, and I mean a lot, to catch up on. It was like suddenly all this week, there's like all this big news that I could have reacted to, and I'm like, of course. The 1 week I couldn't work. But anyway, I wanted to make sure I could at least get one show up this week. Just because this is the first week where it's been possible that I can do this. I've been having Wi-Fi issues just trying to set it up. So now everything should be working fine. Please let me know in the chat if you see anything weird, any lagging or anything odd. Because on my end, a lot of times I just don't see it. So how are you guys doing? Hi Munchie the Gnome. Hi Xavier. Hi Tilmoldo. Hi Cheetah Viper. Hi Josh Loves Movies. Oh, thank you for the comment. Hi Rusty. Hi Natanya. Hi Little Joe's Animations. Hi Joshua. Hi everyone who is here, and thank you again for being patient. So, things that we are talking about today. Well, I have to update you on how the Eras tour did, which I think is going to be very interesting. We have to talk about the Marvels. There are box office projections for the Marvels, and it is not looking good. Oh my gosh, it's not looking good at all. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about the fact that, well, other than the fact that Marvel seems to be decaying around them, it seems like just Disney in general is having a lot of issues, and they're planning to make reboots and live action remakes, possibly of Frozen, Tangled, and The Princess and the Frog. So I think that's ridiculous. We're definitely gonna have to talk about that. Oh, hi Nicholas Wilson. Thank you so much for the super chat right off the bat. Great to see you too, Nicholas. All right, so I'm glad you guys are liking the new background. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Hannah. All right. I know, Joshua, we're going to talk about the box office projections for Eras and the Marvels, because I think the projections for Eras kind of set it up a bit, so let's talk about it. So, a lot of people were saying ahead of this movie that this was going to open closer to Barbie, because to be fair, it was breaking a lot of like resale records. Like, I think it sold more tickets in a single period than like Endgame and Spider-Man No Way Home. So like the pre-sales for this movie were insane. But it seems like everyone who did go see this movie pretty much bought their tickets within the first week, because there was like no demand outside of the fan base that went to go see it. But despite that, the movie still did very well. It just didn't do like as well as some people were expecting. But it opened with 93.2 million. That's still respectable. That's more than respectable. It's the highest opening for a concert movie. And it's actually the second highest opening for any movie in the month of October, only behind The Joker. So that's, again, for a concert movie, that's very impressive. But again, to add a little bit more context, the ticket prices were more expensive than average. She charged $19.89 for adults and then $13.13 for children. So you also have to take into account that these prices, in a lot of cases, were like twice as expensive as normal. So it does kind of inflate the overall box office in general, but it's still very, very respectable. I mean, $130 million opening globally for a concert movie is impressive. It's just not like Barbie impressive like some people were comparing this movie to. Who saw it? Did anyone see the movie? The Blue Gecko Nerd says, I was watching The Princess and the Frog yesterday and it still holds up as a great movie. Well, that's good. Yes, the tracking for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is actually tracking extremely well. Better than the Marvels, and we're gonna talk about that too. Yeah, this is big for Taylor Swift. I don't think I had a lot of Swifties in my audience, right? Oh, thank you, Angie. Well, anyway, I did want to point out that, remember when I told you guys I was very curious to see what the demographic breakdown of this movie would be? Well, we got it. So, I thought it was very interesting. And actually, very notable because the movie skewed heavily female, 82% female, which is unusual. So, like, this was, like, mostly women who went to go see this. But the age ranges were actually pretty wide, to be fair. Like, both old and young saw it. 59% Caucasian, not surprising. Least surprising of all, 3% black. I literally laughed out loud when I saw that. I think that's the least surprising thing. But that's fine. Every artist has their target audience, and Taylor definitely has her target audience down on lock. So you can't deny the success here. But I thought the demographic breakdown here was very interesting. How are you guys feeling? Hybrid Venom says, I'm not watching it because it's for kids. Middle, it's a horror. Oh, you're talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. I think Five Nights at Freddy's is going to be massive, actually. Like, I think it's going to way overperform. Hi, Alex. Oh, Little Joe's Animation, you're seeing the Era Tours this weekend. I am curious to see how well this movie holds up. Like, is it going to have a big drop next weekend, or is it going to hold? I don't know. Like, maybe a lot of our fans are going to do repeat viewing, so that could help it. I'm very curious to see, like, how well this movie does this week. All right, moving on to entertainment news. Oh, wait, no, one more thing. I did want to point this out because Christopher Nolan praised Taylor Swift for showing theatrical can profit outside of the big studios. Because remember, Taylor didn't go to a studio to have a studio distribute her film. She went directly to theaters, who then distributed her film for her. So she cut out the studios. And Christopher Nolan is praising her for this. He says, this is a way of seeing things, sharing stories or experiences that are incredibly valuable. And if the studios don't want it, someone else will. Basically, he's saying, the studios think that everyone needs them, but this movie being a success, despite the studios not being involved, proves that you don't actually need them. As he just said, if the studios don't want something, someone else will, and that could be the theaters. And they lost out on all the profits for this movie because they won't see any of it. So I think that's really interesting, and I'm wondering if this will, like, spawn a trend of other people just going straight to theaters and making a deal with them and cutting out the studios. I don't know how many people have, like, the cachet to do that, but I know there's some that could. So I'm really curious to see if maybe we'll see, like, a rise of independent cinema filmmaking, maybe, where we see more and more people, like, trying to cut out the studios. That could be very interesting. I'd be fascinated to see if we saw more of that happening. Hi, Jojo Rod. Nicholas says, but do others have the power Taylor Swift and Nolan do? There are some. Not a ton, but there are some. Oh, thank you, Joe. Rusty says, dislike her fans live vicariously through her. I mean, to be fair, all fan bases do that with their faves, but I think what you're talking about is, like, the parasocial relationship between her and her fans, I think is, like, probably one of the most notable in the industry. For sure. But it's also very lucrative for her. You also can't deny that, like, you know, fostering that parasocial relationship has made her a billionaire. So she can't be like, oh, maybe I should stop, because then, you know, her fans would be very upset with her. Oh, sorry, there's no chat here. I just realized. Angie says that would be great. New movies and new stories. Yeah, I would actually be here if more people started to do this kind of thing. Maybe show the studios that they're not as all-powerful as they think. Maybe. I don't know. All right, moving on to entertainment news. So this is this kind of broke me a little bit when I saw it. Because what in the world? Y'all, what in the world? There are rumors. Okay, so this isn't confirmed yet, but there are rumors that Disney is considering doing live action remakes for Frozen, Tangled, and The Princess and the Frog. Already. You know, I think someone asked me like a few weeks ago, did I think Disney would do a live action remake for Frozen? And I said they would probably do Frozen 3 before they do a live action remake of Frozen 1. But I guess I was wrong. Apparently they're thinking about doing a live action reboot before they even complete the trilogy, which I think is dumb. I would much rather just have Frozen 3 than a live action version of the first one, you know? Same with Moana. I hate that we're getting a live action Moana. I wish we were just getting Moana 2. So this sucks. I'm not a fan of this. How are you guys feeling about this? No, Josh, don't say that. No, Encanto just came out. If they do a live action reboot of Encanto within 5 years, that will just be super ridiculous. like, you know what? Honestly, Encanto should get a series. Like, I feel like Encanto has so many characters that I could actually see a Disney Plus series working out, because like each episode could focus on a different family member. Like, that's how I feel like Encanto. That's what they should do with Encanto. I do not want a live action movie though, not at all. Yeah, these are goofy decisions. Natalia, why are you crying? I know, Tangled, and the fact we did talk about them thinking of doing a live action Tangled. Remember, they were thinking of Florence Pugh. Apparently, Florence Pugh was their number one choice for Rapunzel, which I think that is. I like Florence Pugh. She's fine. I just think that she's horribly miscast as Rapunzel. Like, horribly miscast. I do not want her as Rapunzel at all. So yeah, I think that's a mistake. Okay, Princess and the Frog. I feel like if you're gonna do Moana, which was a lot more recent, okay, maybe Princess and the Frog, 'cause at least that's the oldest movie out of the three. But I just can't believe that they're gonna do a live action Frozen before they even complete the trilogy. How does this make any sense? Is anyone for any of these? Am I just being too negative? Oh, thank you, Riru. Princess, I'm taking this to court for destroying my childhood. I don't know if it's like destroying our childhood or if it's like... I mean, we always have the originals. We always have the originals. They're not going away. But it's also like... I kind of feel like every time they do a live action reboot of something, it kind of takes away some of the specialness of it. Like, say The Lion King, for example. Yes, the original Lion King is still good, but the new one, the new CGI one, is just so bad and so bland. It makes me not even want to go back to watch the original. Like, that's how much I hate that movie. So the other thing that I really hate about these live action adaptations is that it insinuates that live action is somehow better and more prestigious than like animation, and that something can be improved upon just by making it live action. And I think that is also wrong, because a lot of this stuff works a lot better in animation than it does live action, like Princess and the Frog. Like, I don't know, I do not want to see realistic frogs making googly eyes at each other, I think that's a mistake. So I think this is all going to be nightmare fuel. I think this is going to be bad. I'm not here for this. I'm sorry. I think maybe they'll surprise me and make them somehow good. But I'm just so upset that they're redoing these movies so soon that I'm already a hater. Already. I'm just admitting it. I'm already admitting it. I want to hate because I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I know. Who wants to see the realistic frogs, like, flirt with each other and sing and stuff? Like, some of the stuff should stay animated. Hannah says, the mindset is so sad. Animation makes everything so magical. Live action doesn't have to have the same charm. It really doesn't. I've told you guys this. The only live action Disney reboot that I have actually liked, the only one, is Aladdin. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I actually like the new Aladdin. But even still, that one is not as good as the original. Not a single live action reboot has been better than the original. Not a single one. They're all inferior. In a lot of cases, they're just plain bad. So that's why I have no hope for these. That's why I'm okay with being a hater, because it would actually be surprising if they were good. Hybrid Venom says you're already giving a lost hope. Did DreamWorks, they kind of already make kind of bad movies like The Trolls. DreamWorks is hit and miss. DreamWorks, I mean, I liked the last Puss in Boots movie, but then I also saw that Teenage Kraken movie, which was terrible. So, you know, they're hit and miss too. Western animation is kind of going through a rough patch, in my opinion. I think it's just bad days for animation in general. Shelby says, Maleficent was better than Beauty and the Beast, in my honest opinion, but that's because it was retelling. The first Maleficent was okay. I do like the first Maleficent. I haven't seen it since it came out. I really don't remember it that well, but I think I remember liking it. The second Maleficent, though, is top 10 worst movies I've ever seen. So I definitely don't recommend seeing the second one. But anyway, I think this is a mistake. I think Disney should focus on making sequels to these movies instead of live-action versions. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. No idea who they'll cast, though. I think Florence Pugh as Rapunzel is a mistake. I think Florence Pugh as Elsa is better casting than as Rapunzel. I think that's a big no. But anyway, moving on. So, also what's going to be a big mistake. I was surprised when I saw this. So, Disney is doing a new Percy Jackson and the Olympian series on Disney+. And they're making the show cost as much as The Mandalorian. Cost $12 to $15 million per episode. And this is why I think it's a mistake, because who's watching this show? I've heard not one bit of hype, I don't think anyone's talking about this show. Not really. I mean, here's some, images from the show. I guess it looks kind of okay. But it looks very, very, kiddie. I don't know. Maybe, this will be really, really popular amongst, high school age people. But I just don't see this being something that's going to become, a huge phenomenon on the same scale as The Mandalorian, even though it's going to cost the same amount. So I see this kind of becoming a flop in the making, not going to lie. Is anyone actually interested in Percy Jackson in this show? Because Disney spent a lot of money on it. They clearly have a lot of faith in it, but ain't no one talking about it. So who's interested in this? Lino says this is leaning too on teenagers. Yeah, it looks very, very young. Especially when I look at this picture in the bottom right here, I'm I feel like this is something I could see on Disney Channel. No hate, obviously to any of these actors. But I just don't see this being something that, a large amount of adults would watch on their own unless they were already, very passionate Percy Jackson fans. Okay, poll. I could do a poll. I haven't done a poll in a while. Who's gonna watch this? Do you think they should have spent this much money, though? Who's watching Percy Jackson? I mean, the same price as Mandalorian. If they're spending the same price as The Mandalorian, they were expecting the same viewership as The Mandalorian, at least. But I don't think that's gonna happen. Wait and see. All right, adding the poll. The Free Rocket Man says they should show its potential right away. Yeah, honestly, they should give us a good scene of something really show-stopping to get our attention. Because right now, these images and what we've seen so far, I don't think it's really getting any attention. Not even negative attention, just no attention. No one's talking about this show. I feel like this is about to be Dead on Arrival, Willow style. Ariana says, no, Disney just throws money at things. They really spend way too much. Why are they spending $12 to $15 million on this? And why? Just based on these images, can I not tell that it costs $12 to $15 million an episode? Where is the money going? I think they spend way too much on this stuff. Harry Potter did start off as kiddie, but the kids did grow up, and I think that the themes and what the stories were talking about were always mature for their age. That's why I think Harry Potter always appealed to like a wide age range. Yeah, it is absurd. Nicholas says, yeah, does the number of stands justify the spending? Well, let's see. Let's go to the poll. So 54% of you are not interested. That's what I thought. That's over half. And then 23% are saying you'll wait and see. So maybe you'll see if, like, maybe you're waiting on word of mouth to see if it's good or not. And then 23% of you are saying you are interested. So 23% is actually pretty high. I'm actually surprised at 23%. That's almost a quarter of you. So that's actually kind of promising. So maybe there is going to be some viewership here. I don't know if it's going to be like Mandalorian high, but I mean, that's higher than I expected. Joshua Munn says Willow is so bad, the show is so bad that Disney erased it from history. They dropped that show quick. Wasn't it like less than 6 months later after Willow dropped that they like completely erased it from Disney Plus? That's like, honestly, if I were a part of that show, I would be so like offended. I'd be like, it wasn't that bad, was it? I mean, I tried to watch the first episode and I think I made it through like the first 10 minutes and then I cut it off. It was very bad. It was giving, I wouldn't even say it was giving CW, because I think I would be offending the CW. Because I've seen Reign. Reign was a CW show that was about royals and all that kind of stuff, and I actually really liked that show. This wasn't even as good as Royals, so Willow was pretty bad. Julian says, why do they spend this much on stuff like this, but don't make any more Gravity Falls? They should make more Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls has a lot of fans. They're probably, honestly, I have a feeling that the higher-ups at Disney are so out of touch, especially with, say, the under 30 crowd, that they have no idea what, like, that generation is actually nostalgic for. So there's a lot of properties, particularly from, like, the 2000s and onward, that I think are just, like, waiting to be adapted and, like, could make a lot of money because, you know, that generation is now nostalgic for it. That I just don't think the executives have any idea about. So it'll take some time. They'll figure it out eventually. Like, why aren't they doing anything with Kingdom Hearts? Like, I feel like the only reason Disney isn't doing anything with Kingdom Hearts is because there are a lot of people in high up places that don't understand how popular that game is with an entire generation. Nicholas says, at least the Star Wars sequels made money, even if it was diminishing returns. True, but will the next Star Wars movie make money? I feel like these TV shows, like, apparently 40% of people stopped watching Ahsoka by the end of this first season. If so few people are even watching Ahsoka anymore, or watching Star Wars, like, is the next Star Wars movie even gonna make money? Like, I feel like they're just killing their own fan base with every show. We are way off topic. Anyway, ending the poll, it seems like majority of you are just not interested or waiting to see, but 20% are. So that's higher than I expected. All right, ending that poll. But anyway, this has been a good discussion so far. I like you guys got me off topic. But anyway, now Twitter, of course, had some jokes because not only did we get some new photos about this, but of course Lin Manuel Miranda, who apparently has some ransom on Disney executives somewhere, is a part of this too. He's a part of everything, but somehow Lin Manuel Miranda is playing Hermes, and this is him in the show, and he's just kind of wearing a hoodie. I like Lin Manuel Miranda. I like Hamilton. I just think that he's way overexposed in everything, and stuff he just really shouldn't be in. Like, why is he playing Hermes in Percy Jackson? I just feel like this is very, very random. Like, I know some people are just not into him. I like him. I do. I genuinely think he's a nice guy. But I think he's way overexposed. He's in too much. He's kind of like some people's Awkwafina. I don't care for Awkwafina. I think she's in too much, and I don't care for her voice. But some people, how I feel about Aquafina is how some people feel about Lin Manuel Miranda. So to those people, I regret to inform you, he's also in this. Is anyone surprised? I know, why does Hermes just look like a regular dude? Just got like a beige like hoodie on. I don't know. Thought this was very funny. But anyway. Oh no, Little Joe's animation is very upset. Sorry about that. Yeah, it is kind of giving how do you do, fellow kids. Anyway, moving on. So, something that Disney did actually do right. I told you guys I was very worried about what they were going to do with Robin Williams' voice in the new Once Upon a Studio short that they're releasing on Disney Plus, which is going to feature 100 plus of characters from Disney animation across the years. So they are bringing back Robin Williams, but they used outtakes from original recordings with permission from his estate. They didn't use AI like a lot of people were worried about. Like I was worried about it. I was like, oh God, did they use AI to bring all these people back to life? But they didn't. And I actually think they did a pretty good job. This is what he sounds like.
The leg won't make a difference. It's all in the wrist.
I haven't seen a fall like that since Rome. Much better.
So I think that sounds really, really good. I wouldn't know that was just like picked from clippings from the past, you know? So I'm happy that Disney did the right thing. I was really concerned. I was really thinking as soon as I heard that they were bringing back like deceased actors to perform their characters again, I was like, oh no, they're going to use AI. But they didn't yet. I think if this were like 5 years in the future, they probably would have. But they knew they would not have gotten away with it now. And it sounds pretty good. Oh, Josh, you watched it. I haven't watched it yet. I'm really looking forward to watching it. I'm going to give you guys my review when I watch it. All right, moving on. So now Disney has a lot of issues going on. Disney has found itself in the middle of culture wars after culture war after culture war. And now with their upcoming Snow White live action movie, I've been telling you guys how that movie has already been mired in controversy because of, several comments that have come to light from what Rachel Zegler, the actress who is supposed to play Snow White, she made a lot of comments saying that she didn't like the original Snow White, that she thought it was, very outdated and scary, and that the new one is going to be, trying to insinuate that the new one's going to be a lot better because the old one was too outdated and all that. She ruffled a lot of feathers. I think the hate from those clips proverbiated online for like at least a week. I swear it was like the hottest conversation, at least in this space for a minute. Like people were very, very upset at Rachel Zegler for what she said, to the point where there's even like rumors that the director and like the people behind the scenes on Snow White are very upset with her because now there's like all this negative heat brought down on the movie. And now looks like things have gotten even worse for them because the Daily Wire is making their own live action Snow White movie to compare with Disney's, starring YouTuber Brett Cooper as Snow White. And they even released their own trailer. I'm not going to play the whole thing because copyright. It's just a teaser. But it's her walking through the forest and she's smiling and yeah. And it's called Snow White and the Evil Queen. Interesting. I'm very curious to see who they cast as the Evil Queen. I don't know. This is I did not think the problems for Disney's Snow White movie could get even worse, but somehow it did. Because now like they're having conservatives directly attack them, like directly face on. Like imagine if they had with the when the Little Mermaid movie came out, if they had also had their own version of the Little Mermaid, but with a white Ariel. Like, imagine how toxic that discourse already was, but like times 10. And that's how I think the Snow White movie is about to do. It's pretty bad. How are you guys feeling about all this? I think that it's really sad, as I've said repeatedly, that we can't get politics out of entertainment anymore. Like, even as someone who, I just talk about entertainment and I can't help but bring up politics because they're just becoming so interlinked. I think this is just more proof that entertainment in the West, at least, is becoming like so... I think it's because, okay, I guess I'm about to get mildly political, but obviously political tensions in the US are so divisive. Like, you have the left and right that just see, like, they are so far apart and cannot see eye to eye on, like, almost any issue anymore, that now entertainment in this country, it's like it has to choose a lane. It no longer can be just for something for everyone. Now it's feeling more and more like it has to be for either the left or the right. And I feel like we're getting to a point where entertainment in this country could get split down the middle, where you have movies and shows that the left watches, and then you have movies and shows that the right watches. And then you have very little that both can agree on. And I feel like we are just slowly marching towards that kind of future. And I think that is very dangerous and scary. So that's how I feel about this. Shelley Lee, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, Shelley Lee, you are amazing, kind, always generous member of the community. I genuinely appreciate you. Wow. Thank you for being a member for 2 months. Politically, I am conservative, but I've had it up to freaking here with my your party. I mean, this isn't even the first time that Daily Wire has made a movie. They also made a movie with Gina Carano, who was fired from The Mandalorian, and no one saw that movie. So there's a very real possibility that no one watches this movie either, because no one watched that other movie. But I have a feeling just because it's directly targeting Disney's movies, I think this is going to get a lot more traction. So I'm very curious to see what goes down between these two movies. And you also gifted 5 memberships. Oh my gosh, Shelley, you are incredible. Wow. Who's a member? Okay, so Blue Gecko Nerd is now a member. Wow. Fabrizio is a member. Elino is a member. Jordan Davis is a member. Erica's a member. I think that's everyone. Yes. Congrats everyone who's now a member. We do have a member section later on in the video. As a member, you will get access to members-only posts on the community page. And you also get to support the channel. So thank you for being a member. And thank you, Shelley Lee, for actually gifting 5 memberships. You are always incredible. Thank you, Shelley. Yeah, you guys are great. Evil Connor, welcome back, says, I bet you this is the first and last time we hear about this movie. Oh, so you don't think this movie is actually going to get made? I think they already made it. They have released movies before. Like I said, this isn't even their first movie. So I think this movie will be released. I just don't know, like, are people actually going to watch this one? I think they might. We'll see. Prince says, personally, I hate culture war because I swear people are fighting over things that I swear are going to change. In like a decade or two, just people wasting time. No, you're right, Prince. You're definitely right. I feel like in just my time on this earth, I've seen the pendulum swing back and forth. So people fighting for things right now that like 10 years from now, people might feel completely different. So you're right. I Hate the Heat says, people are obsessed with being not woke. They will support anything and ignore that the Daily Wire aren't genuine. Politics on both sides suck, and I'm tired of seeing conservatives get pissy so easily. Yeah, I think people will hate watch this, and I think people will watch this as like a... Because I did read some of the comments, and like the comments are all like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch this to stick it to Disney, like this is the kind of movie we want to watch. And I'm like, a lot of the people who are gonna watch this movie are just watching this out of spite, not because they're actually interested in this movie. And I think that just shows you how like tribal our politics have become. That this is what like people spend their political time doing. I think it's just really sad overall, really. Josh Loves Movies says there are way too many live-action Snow White movies after Mirror Mirror. Snow White and the Huntsman, that's true. There are a ton of live-action Snow White movies. Like, Do you guys remember the one with Kristen Stewart? I feel like that didn't even come out that long ago. But then it ended because she cheated on Robert Pattinson with the director. Isn't that what happened? That was a whole scandal. Those movies were also not that good. Not gonna lie. I feel like the only Snow White movie I've watched that I've liked is the original. And I like the Once Upon a Time show. They had a Snow White on that show. Oh my gosh, Jorge Barrios. Jorge! Oh my gosh, Jorge Barrios. Thank you so much. Did you hear Disney is making a Bambi remake? Unfortunately, I did. And then the original director in place walked away due to not seeing eye to eye with Disney. They want to remove the mother's death because sensitive audience. Oh, that just got worse and worse as I kept reading. Thank you so much, Jorge. Thank you for the super chat. You guys are very, very kind. Thank you. And yes, I did hear about the Bambi remake. I think it's a mistake. And you know what? I made a joke, because I talked about this on one of my live streams when it was announced. I made a joke, because they were talking about how the Bambi remake was going to be some modernized version of it. And I made a joke that, oh, how are they going to modernize Bambi? Are they going to make, like, Bambi's mom too much of a girl boss to die? And then we got rumors, like, a few days later that apparently that's exactly what Disney wanted to do. And I said that as a joke. But apparently Disney actually does, like, they wanted to, like, not make Bambi's mother die. I'm like, wait, they were actually going to make her too much of a girl boss to die? Like, I said that facetiously. I said that as, like, I tried to think of something so ridiculous that Disney would never do it, and then that's actually what they're doing. So, yeah, I did hear about the Bambi remake, and unfortunately it sounds like they're making all the same problems they've been making. So, yeah, that's going to be a mess. I didn't see Mirror Mirror. Maybe that one's going to be better. I didn't see Mirror Mirror. But anyway, back to Snow White. I think, like I said, I don't know if people are actually going to watch it, but I think they might, especially if they release this around the release of the other Snow White movie. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be toxic. The conversation around these films are going to be hella toxic. But it could possibly fuel both. I could see a sort of, like, weird, like, situation where this actually has backfires on them, because I could also see the situation where it fuels more people to want to see the live action Snow White to support it. So I don't know. This could be sort of like an anti-Barbenheimer moment, but with the same movie. Who knows? Anyway, moving on to more bad news from Disney, because it's just, I think 2023 has got to be one of the worst years in all of Disney's history. Like, they've got nothing going right for them this year. Like, nothing at all. I think the only thing that they've had go well for them this year was Guardians 3 making money. But everything else has been like a huge disaster for them. And now it looks like the Marvels is going to be the next disaster. Because it's tracking very, very low. The tickets are already on sale, so people can look at pre-sales. And based on pre-sales, it's tracking to open between $50 to $75 million. Domestically. Sorry. Guys, this is so bad. This is 69% behind the pace of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and 42% behind Eternals. Do you know how bad you have to be doing to be 42% behind a movie that came out during the pandemic? Eternals came out not just during the pandemic, but wasn't Eternals also one of those movies that was released day and date on Disney Plus? So you could watch it at home on Disney Plus? Wasn't Eternals one of those movies, or was Eternals one of the first that didn't do that? I can't remember. Either way, Eternals was a huge flop. Everyone remembers Eternals as a huge flop. And it's pacing even far behind that one. I mean, this is really bad. And you know what makes it even worse? The fact that the budget is almost $300 million. Now, this is 270 million that we know of as of, like, I believe up to like last year. So this number doesn't even count like the reshoots that they've done since then. So this number is actually not even all that they spent on this movie. It's probably about 300 million, like including reshoots and stuff. So this movie cost like $300 million, and it's tracking to open between 50 to 75. And keep in mind that Marvel movies tend to tank after opening weekend, so it's going to make the majority of its money in its opening weekend. So it's looking like this could be not just the biggest flop for Marvel ever, but potentially, depending on how badly this does, could be one of the biggest flops ever, like, of all time. That's how bad this is looking for this movie. So we've been talking about this movie for the past couple of months. We've been trying to have like a prediction, a discussion about whether or not this movie might make a surprise win, whether or not there were, just secret hordes of people out there who don't talk about this movie online but somehow want to go see it, that maybe will actually drive the box office for this film. But no, the secret hordes of people are not there. They're just not, there's no one interested in this film. And this is looking very bad. And I think if this movie flops as badly as it's looking like, I think, honestly, Marvel should just reboot. And it's, according to rumors, I think they're already considering it, because I think the brand is that damaged, they already need to reboot, because this is terrible. The Cover Girl, thank you so much for being a member for 2 months now. Thank you for supporting that long. Hi, can't stay for too long. Hopping in just to say hi. I'm so glad the streams are back. Oh, thank you, The Cover Girl. I'm glad to be back too. This is great talking to you guys. Is anyone interested in this film? I know a lot of you guys have said, I've already done a poll. Most of you guys aren't interested in this movie, so I'm not surprised that it's going to flop, but I am a little surprised that it's flopping this badly. Like, this isn't just a disappointment. This isn't an underperformance. This is a bomb. This is like a box office bomb. So this is kind of embarrassing for them, not gonna lie. Hi, Shehem. Jorge Barrios, wow. Thank you so much, Jorge. You are so kind. Incredible. Wow. Disney's biggest mistake was losing all the Marvel heavy hitters at the same time. If they went that route, it should have ended at Endgame. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yes. It did hurt them that they lost Tony, they lost Steve. Apparently they lost Thor's dignity, because I don't know what happened with Thor Love and Thunder. So yeah, they did lose a lot of their heavy hitters, you're right. And I think it also doesn't help that they titled Endgame Endgame. Like, they put the word end in the title. So I feel like for casuals, that was like an automatic trigger. Like, oh, this is the end, obviously. So I can just kind of hop off after this. And I think a lot of people did. So yeah, I think they made a lot of mistakes after Endgame. And they're definitely paying for it, because this is a terrible opening. Joshua Munn says, yeah, because now you have Disney wanting to bring back Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow. I'm sure they want to bring back the original Avengers team, because they need them, clearly. They tried to introduce so many new characters after Endgame that no one cared about. Like, seriously, think about how many shows and movies we have gotten since 2020. Like, and think about how many new characters that were introduced in that time that people actually care about. It's shockingly small. Like, I feel like out of the new characters, some people kind of like Shang-Chi. People liked Namor, but apparently because of some rights issue, Disney can't even do anything with him. Some people liked Kang before the Jonathan Majors situation happened. Some people like the High Evolutionary from Guardians. And that's it. Out of all the characters, out of all the new characters, out of all the new shows, I feel like that is it. Everyone else just did not hit. And that's a terrible track record. Aaron Lopez says, after Endgame, they should have did House of M instead. They should have done so many things instead. I think literally what they did do instead, which was just make a whole bunch of crap. But, okay, not being too mean. What they did do was they made a bunch of TV shows that were about expanding the story and pushing the story forward of Marvel, and they were just about character development and getting to know these B and C and D-list characters that no one cared about. And I feel like Marvel misunderstood why people liked Marvel. People did not want to watch, an entire show about Hawkeye. Unless it was about, actually pushing the show forward. And it didn't. So, not the show forward, the entire universe forward. And it didn't. So I think people just lost interest. Arvin says Jonathan Majors is hero. He prevented teenagers from fighting. He needed an award for that. Oh, God. That video with the laptop. I'm still not over that video of Jonathan Majors trying to stop that high school fight that looked staged AF. I really want it to be proven that it was staged, just because that would be hilarious to me. Burning Daylighter says, Shang-Chi, WandaVision, and Werewolf by Night are the only overall good things they did recently. I agree. I think Burning Daylighter, we probably have similar tastes, because those are the three things I would have said. And Spider-Man No Way Home. But that's Sony. So I've also noticed that I kind of don't even consider, Spider-Man to even be a part of the MCU anymore. I have to remind myself that, oh yeah, Spider-Man 2, because I kind of see him as, a Sony thing. Which is also not good for Marvel. Hi, Jessica. Oh, CD Woods, you liked the Hawkeye show. That's fine. But anyway, I think this is very embarrassing for them. And I think they should be embarrassed. So, going to strike news, just to update you guys really quickly on that. So, unfortunately, the SAG strike is still going on. Nope. This is the wrong thing. The SAG strike is still going on. They could not come to a deal. Apparently, Fran Drescher, who is the president of SAG, came to them with a new levy, a new sort of wrinkle in the deal that she wanted more money. And the studios got mad and walked away from the table. So now that's why the SAG strike is still going. Which means that basically we still can't go into production. And unfortunately, that means movies like Deadpool 3 have already been delayed because they were halfway through production when all the films had to stop filming. All the movies had to stop filming. So, this is really bad for them for a number of reasons. They did have a May release date. Now we don't know when they're going to release. I have a feeling it's probably going to be released maybe December of next year. I feel like that's when they'll move it. According to Sean Levy, who's the director, he has no idea when they're going to release this movie. He said, we've shot half the movie. I've edited half the movie. We're dying to get back to work and get this movie out next year, says Sean Levy. So I do believe him. I bet they are dying to get this movie out because, A, they've already announced this movie. We've already seen, all these pictures from it. So the longer this movie takes to come out, the more of the hype will die out because you're just taking too long to get to. And then, B, you also have the issue that the longer you delay a movie, the more the production cost is going to rise. Because basically for a variety of reasons like insurance, you have to strike down sets and then rebuild sets and all sorts of things. Basically delaying a movie adds a whole bunch of costs to it, and delaying this film further is probably racking up the budget incredibly. So I think by the time they're actually done filming this movie, I imagine the budget for this film is probably going to be insane. Which is why I asked you guys over in my member question, because this movie keeps getting delayed because of the strikes, the budget for this is probably going to be very high. Do you guys think this movie will actually be profitable? Do you think it'll be a hit? How big do you think Deadpool 3 will be? Because I think there are a lot that's in the air that I don't think is settled yet. There's so many people, and understandably I get it, that think that Deadpool 3 is just a guaranteed, no way home event. And I just don't think so, for a variety of reasons. I think, for one, yeah, people like the X-Men. I love the X-Men, but we did just see the X-Men recently in X-Men Dark Phoenix. And that was just in like 2018, 2019? And that movie was not well received. So it's not going to have that same like nostalgic quality that seeing Tobey Maguire had in No Way Home. Plus, I think the superhero genre is just like very, very damaged overall. And I think it's going to take more and more to get average people to want to see anything superhero related. Also, I just think the more that I'm hearing about this movie, the more it sounds inside baseball and like it's gearing towards and being tailored towards a very, very niche audience of hardcore MCU fans that are terminally online. And I don't say that disparagingly. I'm saying that to prove a point that I think this movie is sounding like you're going to have to understand the Fox-Disney merger to get it. You know what I mean? And the casual person, I'm not sure, is like really up to date on that kind of stuff. So I have my doubts. But I did want to see what you guys are thinking. Do you prove me wrong? I do want this movie to be a hit. I genuinely do. A, because I am an X-Men fan. I'm a Marvel fan. And if this movie didn't do well, I feel like that would be almost the kiss of death for Marvel, because I don't know how they would come back from that. So I don't want this movie to not do well. But I do have my concerns. So, I asked you guys, what do you think? The CoverGirl official says, glad the streams are back. I think Deadpool 3 will at least be a mid-hit. Even if it makes a decent amount, the cost will not leave Disney with much money. That's what I'm thinking. I really think that the budget is going to be something crazy. I think it's probably going to be like over $300 million just because of the delays and everything. And because the budget's going to be so high, it's going to have to make $1 billion. And I don't know if it's definitely going to. So we'll see. If it is a mid-hit, maybe it'll squeak out like a nice tiny like profit. But I think honestly, I think the budget's going to get so high, the best they're going to hope for is to break even. That's my prediction. CD Wood says X-Men is peak Marvel, but I don't think this film will do that well in terms of money. Why do you think that, CD Woods? Very curious. Nicholas Wilson says, glad to see you back, Brittany. I'm not sure there's that much hype after the delays, and third movies can put people off, given the assumed and expected drop in quality, but it looks like they're doing enough to make it somewhat original, even if it is a bit across the Spider-Verse. I like your use of Spider-Verse. Yeah. I think, as you said, after the delays and the fact that this is a third movie, so there is a bit of homework. In fact, there's not even a bit of homework. When you think about it, there's a lot of homework for this movie. You have to see the first two Deadpool movies. You have to see probably at least a Logan, because I bet they'll reference it. You have to at least be familiar with the Fox X-Men movies. So that's a lot of films. At least the original trilogy. And then generally it's also within the MCU, and apparently there's a lot of ties to Loki. So you kind of have to have seen Loki. But if you've watched Loki, you kind of have to have seen so many other movies. So there is actually a lot of homework that goes into this film, which is another reason why I'm like, I don't know. I feel like this movie is getting a lot of people within the geek space excited. Like it's getting us excited because we're hardcore Marvel fans. We're the nerds, you know? But I just don't know if this movie has the same hype and appeal outside of our bubble. That's what I'm worried about. Jorge Barrios, again, wow. Wow, that's incredible, Jorge. Thank you so much for your support. Spider-Man and Batman only profitable heroes in the foreseeable future. Yeah, I think we are getting to a point where you're going to have to be like an A-list superhero in order to make money. Like, you need to be a Spider-Man or a Batman or oh no. What else is another one? Maybe a Joker. You have to be like, you have to have, not only do you have to be like a top shelf hero, but I would even argue you have to be a household name. Like, you have to be a superhero everyone and their grandmother has heard of. Like, these B-C-list heroes, I just don't think that they have not that they have zero chance, but I think it's going to be an uphill battle for them. Thank you for the super chat. It's Shay Amore says, I'm glad you're back. Hope the move went well. It did. I think Deadpool 3 will be a hit, but only because of Wolverine and the X-Men. I don't think it will make as much as the first two. Interesting. Wait, you don't think it'll make as much as the first two Deadpool movies? If that happened, if this movie didn't make as much as at least the first Deadpool, that would actually be considered a disappointment. I think they're expecting at least as much as Deadpool 2. So that would be really shocking if this didn't make as much as the first two Deadpool movies. I don't see it doing that badly. I think it can make about as much as the first two, or maybe even as much as like Guardians 3, but it doing that badly would be very shocking. Thank you for being a member. CCG says the first Deadpool aged really well. It's a great movie to watch with friends. Hopefully they can drum up excitement and make it a major event. Well, if anyone's good at drumming up excitement, it is Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is like a genius at marketing. So there's always that card the movie can pull. Because you just know. I mean, did you guys see the fact that, like, Ryan Reynolds went to that football game with Taylor Swift with, like, the cast and the director of Deadpool 3? Like, he is already trying to market this movie hard. And he's not even allowed to market the movie because the SAG strike. So, yeah, when the time comes around to actually market this movie, and he can market it, we're going to be seeing Deadpool everywhere. Ryan Reynolds will not, let this movie underperform without trying at least. So, yeah, the marketing machine for this movie is going to be insane for sure. The Blue Gecko Nerd says, but they wouldn't go as far as to get an A-lister. Also, I gotta go. Oh, bye, Blue Gecko Nerd. What do you mean A-lister? Jessica says, I think the genre/theme overshadowing and inspiring contemporary Hollywood films is nostalgia, which Deadpool doesn't really have, neither does X-Men, at least not as much. That's what I'm saying, Jessica. I don't think the X-Men are nearly as nostalgic as they really need to be to sell this movie at the heights that they're expecting. Because we just saw the X-Men, we saw them a lot over the 2010s. Like, they kept popping up. Even when we wanted them to stop. Like, with Dark Phoenix. So, yeah, I just don't think that they're as nostalgic as, again, seeing Toby again. Like, that was crazy nostalgic. It doesn't have that same nostalgic ring. The legendary movie critic, thank you so much for being a member, says, I think Deadpool 3 is going to be a hit for 20th Century Studios, and it helps Marvel make a strong comeback. I hope that Disney makes Deadpool 3 worth the wait. I'm glad you're so positive. I really think it still could be a major hit. If it did make $1 billion, I'd be like, great, that's fantastic. I just think that, I don't know. But I really hope it does make a strong comeback for Marvel, because Marvel really needs it. Because if this movie does underperform like how some of us are fearing it could, I don't even know how they would come back from that. I really think this would hurt Marvel significantly, even more than Quantumania did. So I hope it doesn't happen. I really don't. Alexander Padilla says, hey Brittany, just wanted to say welcome back. I'm glad the move went well. Thank you, Alexander. I'm glad that you're going to catch the stream later, so I'll see you soon. Cheetah Viper says, I love Deadpool, but hearing about the story and what it entails has me concerned. Even with Ryan and Hugh pushing it might not be enough if the story isn't good. At this point, I'm not sure if it will be profitable, or if it will even break even, depending on the budget. As of now, Marvel has a bad reputation when it comes to movies. It does have a bad reputation. That's why I think, Marvel's reputation and the superhero genre's reputation, both, the reputation for both is just, it's never been more in the gutter. Never. So that's why I think that this movie really does have a tough hill to climb, unfortunately. Yeah, I think the top end, if this movie is really well received, I can see it performing around Guardians 3. I think that's genuinely the top end, which is still really well. But I think, compared to where some people's expectations are, I could see that being considered a bit of an underperformance. So that's what I'm thinking. Rai Noel says, it's like when you keep getting extensions on your paper, so you have to turn in a masterpiece. It's getting too much hype now. I feel bad for the pressure on the filmmakers. That's a great point. The longer this movie is delayed, the more hype from fanboys, like, they'll be expecting. Like, they're gonna be, especially because if you pay attention at all to, like, leaks or whatever, there's a lot of leaks that come out about this movie. Probably from, fake leakers, and then probably also from Marvel trying to, like, test stuff on the audience. And I feel like just hearing about it so much could do a lot of damage to just expectations, because it could either do two things. It could either have people be, like, so overhyped that the movie can never reach their expectations, or it could do the opposite. It could have people so tired of hearing about the movie by the time it comes out that people don't care about, like, people don't even care about it anymore. I feel like those are the two main options for this movie. And why I'm like, I don't know. I think the low end for this movie, if it's not received well, like, if this movie is bad, if this movie is received poorly, I think the low end for this movie, I kid you not, is like in the 500s. Like a little bit better than Quantumania. I think the bottom could go that low if it's not well received. That's how low I think this could go. And if it does go that low, that would be, I think it would possibly end the Marvel Universe. They would have to reboot. They would have to. But yeah, not to be too pessimistic. It might not happen, but I think that the possibility is there. RuPaul's Drag Race Superfan says, I think it will be a hit to the public, but because of how big the budget is getting, will still technically be a flop. That's true. This movie could make like $800 million and because of the budget still be a flop, which is crazy and says more about the budget than how well the movie did. But like I said, I think the budget for this is going to be crazy, especially because of the delays. Natanya, thank you for being a member, says, I agree with you, Brittany. It isn't going to be a guaranteed billion-dollar hit. No, it is not. I'm glad I'm convincing a lot of you guys, because I feel like so many people are like so convinced about this, and I'm like, guys, are you not seeing the red flags that I'm seeing here? Because there are plenty of red flags. Mama Tay says, if the movie is as good as No Way Home, it will be a huge hit, especially with all the returning X-Men. 1 billion easily. Okay, let me contradict that. Let me play devil's advocate. No single X-Men movie has ever made $1 billion. No Deadpool movie has ever made $1 billion. The Wolverine movie, Logan, the movie everyone loves, Logan, did not even come close to $1 billion. I don't know why everyone thinks that because the X-Men are going to be in it, that it's automatically going to be $1 billion. There's just no evidence. People like the X-Men. They are popular. But they have quite literally never been $1 billion popular. So we'll see. If this movie made $1 billion, this would be the first X-Men movie to do so. So that's why I think it would be very surprising. Shelley Lee says, I have given up all hope for this movie. One of a couple of superhero movies that I have actually enjoyed. Why? Oh wait, it will still get released, right? I can wait. I think some people probably will wait. I think not everyone's feeling like every Marvel movie is a must right away, so I don't know, maybe it'll do really well on streaming and it'll blow up later. Who knows? Thank you for being a member though, and thank you always for supporting the channel. And then Chev on Junior? I don't know. I think that this is the Blue Gecko nerd, right? Says, honestly, who knows? Maybe it's something Disney will have to sink their teeth into. I hope that Disney doesn't sink their teeth into it, honestly. I think the more Disney sinks their teeth into it, the less good it will probably turn out. So I'm hoping the opposite. Black Star just says hi. Hello. Joshua Munn says, we know Ryan Reynolds is pissed that it's being delayed for sure. Oh, I bet Ryan Reynolds is stressed the F out right now. And based on his response about SAG's Halloween costume rules, LOL. But with all that's going on right now, I think either people won't care and it'll flop like The Flash, possibly because it goes over budget like Indiana Jones 5 did, or it'll be a huge cultural phenomenon like Spider-Man No Way Home was. Another similar concept to Deadpool 3. Think of Deadpool 3 as a parody movie of The Flash and Spider-Verse and Spider-Man No Way Home. They need this to be a huge hit, or Marvel is going to have to do the Marvel DC crossover in Avengers Secret Wars. Guys, I really do not want this Marvel DC crossover. You guys keep pitching it to me, and I keep rejecting it. And I will keep rejecting it. I do not want it. After the pandemic, there's no in-betweens, I don't think. Because having Taylor Swift in this based on the box office of her concert movie may not be the big thing they think may not be the big thing they think it is even. Yes, I know what you're saying. And that's why I pointed out what I was talking about with Taylor's box office earlier, that it is very big for a concert movie, but it is by no means as big as what people thought it was going to be. And if you even take out some of the inflation from how much her ticket sales were inflated, like, because remember, her ticket sales were like $20, which is about twice as much as how much ticket sales usually cost. Yeah, her movie did do really well, but I don't think that adding Taylor Swift to this movie is automatically going to make it $1 billion either. Again, because the concert movie did do well, but not like crazy well. So you're right about that. And I'm glad that we're seeing eye to eye on this, Joshua. We see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. But yeah, I think you're right. It's either going to not make its budget back because I think the budget's going to get out of control. Or it's going to become a cultural phenomenon. And honestly, I think in order to make its budget back, it's going to have to become a cultural phenomenon. And I just don't know. The only way I can see this becoming a cultural phenomenon is if Ryan Reynolds markets the F out of it. And he has the ability to do it. He has the ability, the business prowess, the marketing intelligence. He has all of that to do it. So I think that's still like the movie's last playing card that it could play is Ryan Reynolds knows how to market stuff. So Ryan Reynolds could still get this thing to become like a big deal and get this movie to be like, you know, maybe $1 billion movie. Maybe. But I think it's going to depend a lot on that, to be honest with you. I think he's going to have to make this movie as big as it needs to be, because I don't think it is on its own. That's my opinion. Thank you for the comment, though. Art Pistol says, it will be huge. I can't explain it, but Ryan Reynolds has something special going on. Not to mention, Deadpool is the only superhero around that people still love. Rip Tom Holland's Spider-Man. What? No, people still love Tom Holland's Spider-Man. If I had to say, like, who are the most popular superheroes right now, it would be, like, Tom Holland Spider-Man. I would even say, like, Scarlet Witch. People really love Scarlet Witch. People liked Loki, but no one's watching that show. So, people like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. And people liked Robert Pattinson as Batman. I feel like that's it. That's kind of it right now. That's a very small amount. I feel like everyone else is kind of a big no for people. Or just people don't care about. Yeah, those are kind of like the biggest superheroes and actors at the moment, I feel. Anyone else that I didn't mention that you guys want to add? Oh, Jorge Barrios, you have another super chat. Wow. Jorge, you are incredible. Super incredible. Wow, thank you. If Keaton, most beloved Batman, couldn't do it for The Flash, unfortunately Hugh won't be able to do so much for Deadpool 3. Exactly. A lot of people swore up and down that The Flash would do really well because people would care about seeing Michael Keaton again as Batman, and that did not turn out to be the case. And people really love Hugh. People really love Hugh as Wolverine. But again, even Hugh's own Wolverine movie that people really loved, Logan, didn't come close. Made like only maybe $500 million, which is still a lot for that movie. But I just don't know if it's like enough to make Deadpool $1 billion movie. And I think the most a Deadpool movie has made is like 700 something. I don't even think a Deadpool movie's even made over $800 million. So I think it'd be a pretty big jump for Deadpool 3 to make $1 billion when the last Deadpool movie only made like 700 something. But we'll see. I think we're on the same page though. I'm glad that I'm convincing a lot of you guys that you guys are starting to see the red flags that I'm seeing. Because I've been feeling like alone in my island over here. Like, What do you guys mean this is a guaranteed billion-dollar movie? Whoo! Why? But anyway, I'm glad you guys are agreeing with me. Yes, I did get to the super chat. It's not gonna... Wait, it is gonna be R-rated. Yes, the last thing we've heard is that this movie is going to be R-rated, unless they've changed that. I don't think they have. I hope they haven't. It is going to be R-rated, but I think it's... Because it's Disney, I think it's probably going to be a very soft R-rated. Like, it's probably just going to be a lot of cussing, but, like, probably not even a lot of, like, F-bombs. Just probably a lot of, like, I don't know, probably saying shit or something. Even the gore will probably be tame. It'll be probably the softest R that you will find. It'll be very hard PG-13, borderline R. That's what I'm guessing, because I just don't think they're gonna get away with doing hard R. Jessica says, do you think it has potential like the Mario movie did, or do you think it'll be a quiet flop? Or do you think it'll be a flop? I don't think this will make nearly as much as Mario. No, I don't think this will make Mario money at all. I wish it would make Mario money, but it's not. I think this movie's gonna make, at best, Guardians 3 money. And at worst, Quantumania money. That's my range, personally. But anyway, I do have WTF news. This is the last news for today, and then that's the end of the show. We actually did go overtime, so that's great. We had a good discussion. I have a lot of stuff that I didn't get to, because like I said, I missed a ton of news. There was a whole Marvel book that came out, too, talking about, like, a bunch of behind-the-scenes secrets on, like, things we didn't know about that happened with Marvel. So I'm going to talk about that on Monday. But I do want to get to the WTF news before we go. And it is about Disney because, of course, well, sort of Disney adjacent. But did you guys know that there is a, like, R-rated Winnie the Pooh out there? Now, Disney did not make this, but it's definitely spoofing on Disney's Winnie the Pooh. But a 4th grade teacher apparently accidentally showed this to his students. And he didn't stop the movie, even though there were kids saying, hey, stop the movie, we don't want to watch this. Now, it's a rated R movie. It's like a slasher film. Here's an image from the movie, so you can kind of guess here. It's a very R-rated movie in nature. So I don't know what the heck this 4th grade teacher was doing playing Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And I don't buy for a second that it was an accident, considering the fact that he didn't want to turn off the movie. So I think this is very weird. It definitely belongs in WTF news, because yeah, accidentally. Who does this as a 4th grade teacher? But anyway, Angie says, oh yes, I heard about that, and I'm angry that the teacher didn't stop it. I'm angry that the teacher didn't stop it too. These are 4th graders. Like, what the heck? You're trying to score, like scare, and like, what are you trying to do? Terrorize these children? I don't know. I thought this was pretty messed up. Like, very messed up. I'm surprised the teacher did not get into more trouble. But anyway, that is the last thing that I had for today. So, thank you everyone. I'm glad that this stream actually went well. I had no idea. First stream, new place, new Wi-Fi setup, could have been spotty, could have been interesting. But it actually went pretty well, so I'm very happy about that. Again, I'll see you guys on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as always. Sorry. This has been great. This has been really great. And Jorge, oh my god. Jorge, you have been just so kind, so just the best, so generous. Thank you so much. Genuinely appreciate it. You have a new super chat that says, this reminds of Taylor Swift's film reactions, and people swore it would destroy Barbie's record. And honestly, I don't see it getting anywhere near that, honestly. Are you talking about Deadpool? Yeah. I think it's a similar situation where I feel like even the media can be, find itself in a bubble where they think something's going to be a lot bigger than it is. I think the Taylor Swift thing was definitely a lot of people in a bubble thinking this was going to be bigger than it was. And I think, unfortunately, the Deadpool 3 thing is also a lot of us geeks and, people in the media who spend a lot of time on Twitter reading what geeks say. Honestly, I think this Deadpool 3 thing could be the start of the DC-fication of Marvel. Let me explain. So, you know how with DC films, there's that meme that DC fans are very loud online, but then when a movie actually comes to theaters, no one goes to see them, and like the theaters are always empty. I feel like Deadpool 3 could have a similar situation where like the hype online is very loud for it, but then in actuality, it won't register in theaters. I could see that happening, like for sure. Honestly, I kind of predict it. But anyway, that's the last thing I want to say for now. We're already like way over time, so I'll see you guys on Monday. This was a fun stream. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to talk to you guys again. This is really fun. Thank you all for your generosity and all the super chats and everything. You guys are incredible. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys on Monday.